On July 19th, 1977, the world teacher, the Christ Maitreya, head of the spiritual hierarchy, emerged from his ancient retreat and is now in the modern world. With his disciples, the masters of the wisdom, he will inaugurate the new age of synthesis and brotherhood.
Good morning and welcome to our World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM, presented by Teresa on behalf of Share International New Zealand. Carrying on with our series of book reviews, today we focus on Benjamin Creme's book The Gathering of the Forces of Light, UFOs and Their Spiritual Mission, published in July 2010. This review by Dick Larson features in the September 2013 edition of Share International magazine and begins, The Gathering of the Forces of Light, UFOs and Their Spiritual Mission by Benjamin Creme is an invaluable document for those seeking information about the how and why of UFO activity, which has become so apparent lately. Are any of them real? If so, which ones? Why are they here? Why don't we see them all the time? What do the space people look like? This fascinating book holds the answers to these and many more questions about the space people and their spaceships, providing specific information not found elsewhere. The Gathering of the Forces of Light is also the definitive book for those who have been seeking compelling information on more effective approaches to education, including the parenting of children. It opens with Benjamin Creme's preface, wherein he explains the basic contents of the book. Part 1 about the Space Brothers and their UFOs, and Part 2 about education in the New Age. Then he presents an article, The Time of Revelation, written for Share International magazine through Benjamin Creme by his master, one of the 63 Masters of Wisdom who make up Earth's spiritual hierarchy. Benjamin Creme is in constant touch with this master. It is this communication link with his master, as well as Creme's own extensive personal experiences, that source the information in the book. This book is not mere conjecture and theory about UFOs and life on other planets. It overflows with facts, certainty, and detail as the author weaves his story of our space visitors and their mission of mercy, a spiritual mission. There are caves inhabited by early humanity that have drawings of UFOs and space people on the walls. Benjamin Creme explains that the space people have been visiting humanity on Earth for 300,000 years. He wastes no time in spelling out the importance of this information. There is an enormous amount of information of one kind or another about UFOs, some of it true, absolutely authentic, and masses of it utterly unreal and unauthentic. This is a huge and all-important subject. Yet for over 60 years, developed nation governments have been denigrating and demonizing these loving, helpful space people as aliens who slaughter cattle, probe us, and, for unknown reasons, supposedly seek to cause harm to us. A cynical media, including many feature films of Earthlings fighting off space monsters, further feeds the fear and confusion. Benjamin Creme explains the cause of these distortions by our governments. If the people knew there were wise visitors who wanted to help us, they would stop listening to the world's leaders and ask to hear from the Space Brothers about how to experience the purpose and joy of life more fully. So acknowledging the existence of such wonderful advanced human beings would be committing political suicide. Another reason that governments deny UFOs' existence is because they are concerned about panic among the people whom they have taught to fear the UFOs. So governments declare that UFOs are or are not harmful, while at the same time denying their existence. Benjamin Creme's master states, "Yet every government has unassailable proof of the existence, creativity, and superior technology of these brave and harmless visitors from the sister planets of our system." Humanity exists throughout all of cosmos. However, these visitors from space do not come from the Pleiades or from Sirius, as many think. There is no overt contact between our civilization and that of the Pleiades, says Benjamin Creme. A few are from Saturn and Jupiter, but most of the UFO craft and crews, who are here in their thousands, come from our neighbouring planets of Venus and Mars. Mr. Creme describes at least 2 major world crises where we received help behind the scenes from our space brothers to prevent disaster. The first was in the beginning of the Cold War, when Russia blocked off their zone and separated East Berlin from West Berlin. The second instance was the Cuban Missile Crisis. In both situations, the US presidents, at those times, received advice from a space brother about how to avert disaster, and, with the help of the space people withdrawing negative energy, a very possible nuclear Third World War was avoided twice. Just as our physical body is a system, and when part of it breaks down, the rest of it rushes in to help the healing, likewise our solar system is an entity, a confederation of planets that has a plan and a great consciousness overseeing that plan, wherein a similar healing can occur. The hierarchy, masters, of all the planets work together in an interplanetary parliament. Planet Earth is holding back the evolution of the solar system because we have not stopped war or pollution. We have taken wrong turns and need help getting back on the path of the plan. So other parts of the solar system, fellow humans from other planets, have rushed in to help. They are here on a rescue mission, a spiritual mission. Their current mission takes place in at least 5 primary areas, which are described in detail in this amazing book. The first part of their mission is to help keep our planet alive by cleaning up our pollution. With huge ships, the space people are neutralizing much of our pollution, especially nuclear, in the air, land, and water, and have been doing so for 24 hours a day for years. Without their help, our planet would be dying. The nature of the Space Brothers is to serve. They make great sacrifices to help our planet. They cannot clean it all up because it is not their mess, so they are limited by karma. But they do what they can until we wake up and clean it up ourselves. The greatest danger is from nuclear pollution, which is spewing forth from all our nuclear power plants and nuclear bomb tests. Benjamin Creme tells us that a source of much confusion and misinformation comes from the limitations of our science. We are only aware of 3 levels of physical matter: solid, liquid, and gas. But there are 4 levels above the gaseous level called etheric matter. It is physical matter as well, but not solid physical, so one cannot see etheric physical matter unless one has etheric vision. Very few of us do. The UFOs are made up of this etheric physical matter, as are the crews that fly them. They see each other just as we do, yet we cannot see them, unless they lower the vibration of their body and or their spaceship, so they temporarily become solid physical. Then we can see them, but only when they want us to. They do not want to frighten people, so they are careful about showing themselves. If someone is afraid of them, they simply disappear. They leave. Etheric nuclear matter is leaking from our nuclear plants and bomb testing, but our instruments are too crude to detect it. The Master says that this potent nuclear pollution is the cause of early Alzheimer's disease, and dramatically increased births of autistic children. It breaks down our immune systems and makes us subject to diseases, flus, cancers, etc., that we would normally be able to resist. The second part of the UFO's mission is to create the beautiful crop circles appearing around the world. These crop circles, which bend but almost miraculously never break or kill the crops, make a wondrous calling card to tell us they are really here. Benjamin Creme says it beautifully. If you have eyes to see, this sign tells you that someone of tremendous intelligence, skill, tact, and reserve has touched the edges of our garment and said, "We are here." Another reason for the crop circles, created by thought and made by the UFOs in mere seconds, is to mark the energetic magnetic grid of our planet. This, combined with the sun's energy, is for future use as part of the science of light, a gift to us from the Space Brothers once we have stopped wars, and will provide pollution-free, cost-free, near-endless energy for our planet. The third part of the Space Brothers' mission is to provide a beautiful and unmistakable sign of a magnificent, unprecedented event that will happen soon. 2,000 years ago, the great teacher, Jesus, came to inaugurate the age of Pisces and bring his teaching of the love of God. The wise men followed a star as it moved through the heavens and came to rest over Bethlehem, where it shone down on the birthplace of Jesus, so the Magi could honor him. That was not a star. It was a spaceship the size of 2.5 football fields, made especially for that purpose. Today there is another star in the heavens, announcing the imminent arrival of the teacher for the age of Aquarius. Maitreya, the world teacher, come to teach the purpose behind the will of God. But it is not really a star. Again, the Space Brothers have created 4 special giant UFOs the size of 5 football fields combined, one north, south, east and west around the planet, so that one star can be seen by everyone. They shine and twinkle like stars, but they do not otherwise act like stars. They move, they flash colours, and they have been known to respond to human thought. YouTube is loaded with footage and videos of Maitreya's star, as is the Share International website, share-international.org. The stars will remain there, visible on clear nights and days, until the world teacher comes forward and addresses humanity on his day of declaration. The fourth part of the UFO's mission here is to be part of the forces of light, helping Earth's humanity to move forward in our evolution. The space people are working with Maitreya daily, hourly, moment to moment. We think of the forces of light as the esoteric hierarchy, the Christ and his group of masters, who make up, with all of their disciples, the forces of light of our planet. They are gathering together a host of people from all over the world to work with them in this coming time. The new group of world servers, created by Maitreya in 1922, are included. All are the forces of light, preparing the way for Maitreya to come forward, when the time is right, to work openly with humanity in creating a brilliant civilization on Earth. The fifth part of the Space People's mission is as role models for the establishment of right relationship. Living together in peace is Maitreya's call. That is how the Space Brothers live, harmlessly, tactfully, respectfully, writes Benjamin Creme. We are one solar system. All of us are engaged in a journey to perfection together. We are at different levels, some nearer the end of the road, some of us struggling to find a path to the right road even after millions of years. The Space Brothers are here to help. With their help, the forces of evil will be destroyed, the forces that prevent people everywhere from living together in peace with justice and right relationship. Right relationship is the next destined step forward for humanity, and with the help of the Space Brothers and the emergence of our own hierarchy of masters, that will quickly come to be. In the Gathering of the Forces of Light, Benjamin Creme fully explains these and other aspects of our Space Brothers and Sisters rescue mission to Earth through a reprint of his lecture on this topic and the subsequent questions and answers. A central theme of Creme's message throughout is that no one else can do the work for us. We can receive advice and teachings, but we must do the work of reconstruction of our society and our planet. As Maitreya says, man must act and implement his will. Nothing happens by itself. Part 1 concludes with a unique colour photograph of Maitreya's star, an enormous spacecraft from Jupiter, and examples of crop formations which appeared in southern England, showing their intricacy and beauty. You're listening to the World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. Dick Larson continues. Part 2 of the Gathering of the Forces of Light deals with the changes in education that will be required in the coming time, a time of new science and of an increasing awareness of who we really are and of the forces at work around us. Here Benjamin Creme presents The New Education, an article by his master addressing our existence as souls, our evolution through the law of rebirth, and the need for education that addresses life, not just jobs. The master reveals, in today's sense, education is a feeble thing indeed, ensuring only the minimum requirements for an understanding and control of man's environment. Education should be understood as the means by which the indwelling God is contacted, known, and given expression. The fact of the soul, the divine intermediary, must gain general acceptance, and techniques of contact with this higher principle attain common usage. A major problem in education is that we do not know who we are. Each of us is a soul in incarnation. The trouble is that, for the most part, developmental psychologists reject the notion of the soul. Psychology will make no further progress until it recognizes the fact of the soul. The soul's purpose is to serve the plan of evolution. The masters are here to serve the plan and to inspire humanity to carry out their soul's purpose. The more we live like a soul, the less our past can affect, influence, and imprison us. So the new education will teach and reveal our personality makeup, our energetic makeup, and our personal stage of development on the evolutionary path. Armed with this knowledge, provided through the teachings of the masters and their disciples, humanity will find itself experiencing growth at a pace heretofore unknown by most. Next, in the Gathering of the Forces of Light, Creme reproduces the master's article on the family. This focuses on the family unit as the basis of all social life, and the need to properly nourish the young souls we bring into incarnation to join our family of souls as our children. The new education must institute the training and requirements for family life. Millions of young people are allowed to enter this field of service, parenting, the most difficult in the world, for the most part devoid of training of any kind. Part 2 also includes educating young children, educating the youth, expected changes in educators and their programs, and the relationship of family and karma, as well as recommendations for further reading along these lines. The Gathering of the Forces of Light concludes with a summary presentation of transmission meditation, a free group meditation and one of the most powerful meditations in the world, introduced at his master's request by Benjamin Creme in 1974. It is practiced by groups around the world, and this will continue for the next 2,000 years and beyond. The Time of Revelation certainly includes this fascinating, encouraging, and very revealing book. And that concludes Dick Larson's review. Here's an interesting article from Share International magazine, April 2017. It's titled Winston Churchill and UFOs by Phyllis Power. It begins, an article written by Winston Churchill in 1939, revised during the 1950s but never published, has recently been discovered in the Churchill Museum in the USA. Are we alone in the universe? Written on the verge of World War II, with crucial political events to occupy his mind, Churchill's interest would have been stimulated by the recent notorious US radio version of War of the Worlds, adapted by Orson Welles from the novel by H.G. Wells, that had many panicking that an alien invasion was actually taking place. Astrophysicist Mario Livio, the first person to be shown this newly discovered manuscript, points out that Churchill posited the existence of many other suns with families of planets decades before the actual discovery of extrasolar planets in the 1990s. What impresses Livio about Churchill's article is how he approached the question of alien life with a scientist's mind. What's so amazing about the piece is that here is a man, arguably the greatest statesperson of the 20th century, and in 1939 he not only has the interest but finds the time to write an essay about a purely scientific question. Source Nature, 15th of February 2017. In fact, Churchill was also interested in and committed to the importance of science in society, and as UK's Prime Minister he appointed a government science advisor, a role that would have even more importance today. The article explores the conditions necessary for life to exist, life defined as the ability to reproduce, and discusses the habitable or Goldilocks zone, the narrow orbital region where a planet is neither too hot nor too cold, but just right, to support life. This is in line with the latest contemporary thinking about where we might find life in the universe. Churchill's measured conclusion was, we might now think, only common sense, but it was well before its time. With hundreds of thousands of nebulae, each containing thousands of millions of suns, the odds are enormous that there must be immense numbers which possess planets whose circumstances would not render life impossible. However, although Churchill interestingly posits Mars and Venus as possible hosts for life, he in no way entertains the possibility of etheric matter that can explain the existence of life on planets in our solar system, and that underpins the accounts of space people in the writings of Benjamin Creme and George Adamski, borne out by countless sightings and other accounts. All the same, intriguingly, the very fact that he wrote the article might suggest that Churchill, a third-degree initiate, could have had an intuition that life outside our planet can, and indeed, as he himself says, must exist. As a third-degree initiate, the scope of Churchill's knowledge and talents was huge. He was well known as an historian and inspiring orator, even gaining the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953, as well as a politician. Most importantly, as Prime Minister of Britain, he helped to lead the Allies to victory in World War II. With his first-ray makeup, personality and mental and physical bodies, he was also physically fearless and indomitable, deliberately seeking out early in his career dangerous military combat, particularly in the Boer War, though as a war correspondent rather than as a member of the armed forces. He was also something of a maverick. He never did well at school and was largely self-taught. He became a Freemason in 1902, which suggests an interest beyond the material. His newly found article illustrates how he was prepared to inquire into areas beyond contemporary conventional thinking. All the same, it is telling that whatever his own view about the possibility of life outside planet Earth, as Prime Minister during the war, he appears to have ordered that a UFO sighting be kept secret to prevent mass panic. In the late 1950s, Churchill revised the article a little, changing the title from its original "Are We Alone in Space?" to the more specific "Are We Alone in the Universe?" By then, there had been very many publicized encounters with UFOs and the space people, and George Adamski had published his world-famous books Flying Saucers Have Landed in 1953 and Inside the Spaceships in 1955. Churchill concludes his article prophetically. I, for one, am not so immensely impressed by the success we are making of our civilization here, that I am prepared to think we are the only spot in this immense universe which contains living, thinking creatures, or that we are the highest type of mental and physical development which has ever appeared in the vast compass of space and time. As Benjamin Creme said in a lecture in 2014, the space people live, and we owe them an enormous debt. They are all part of the same planetary system. The people of the space vehicles are our brothers and sisters. What we call man exists everywhere in space. And that's our programme for today. If you have any questions or would like to know more about the World Teacher, Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, please visit the website share-international.org. To inquire about books by Benjamin Creme, the number is 027 426 2018. Thank you for listening to us on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. And please tune in to our next World Teacher programme on Saturday the 6th of June at the usual time of 10 a.m. You can listen again to this programme and previous ones by visiting share-international-nz.info and click on the radio tab.